Before we begin these stories, here's a true scary fact from Maryland that connects to the strange and hidden. Maryland's historic Point Lookout Lighthouse, built in 1830, is often called one of the most haunted places in the state. Besides its grim past as a Civil War prison hospital, visitors and paranormal investigators have reported unsettling occurrences. These include disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and mysteriously flickering lights in rooms that are supposedly sealed off. Many believe the spirits of tormented soldiers and even a former lighthouse keeper, Ann Davis, still roam its halls, making their presence known in unexpected and hidden spaces, much like a room that wasn't listed.
This story was sent to me by someone named Imani. She's a photographer from Atlanta, and after her trip to Maryland, she swears she'll never stay in a house with a locked door again. I booked the Airbnb because of the view. That was the whole point. I wanted coastal sunrises, old boats drifting in fog, maybe a gull in the frame. The place was in a quiet inlet near Chesapeake Bay, two-story Victorian-style house with a small lighthouse tower attached. The listing mentioned it was an old keeper's residence from the 1800s, partially restored with modern updates. Sounded perfect, cozy, rustic, and photogenic. The host left a note on the table with some snacks, the Wi-Fi code, and a line in bold. Do not attempt to open the second-floor storage room. It was the only locked door in the house. I wasn't about to snoop, so I just mentally filed it away. But that first night, around 1 a.m., I heard boots, heavy footsteps, slow, pacing, above me. The second floor had only 2 rooms, the one I was sleeping in, and that locked door across the hall. I got up, cracked the door, and listened. Step, 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 then silence. Next morning, I asked the host, via message, if anyone had keys to the place. She responded quickly. "No one else has access. You're the only guest. I'm out of town. Old houses settle strangely near the coast. Don't worry." I brushed it off. Could have been plumbing. Old beams, maybe even a raccoon on the roof. Second night, same thing. Only this time, the pacing ended with a loud thump against the wall. I was wide awake the rest of the night, staring at that locked door like it was breathing. Then came night 3. Around midnight, I went to brush my teeth, and that's when I noticed it. A small brass key was sitting on my pillow. No note, no tag, just the key. And my door had been unlocked. I was sure of it. I picked it up and felt cold all over. I didn't want to, but I walked across the hall, heart pounding, and pressed the key into the lock of the storage room. It turned smoothly. The door creaked open, and I stopped breathing. Inside was a fully furnished room. Antique furniture. A small bed with a crocheted quilt. Oil lamp, framed photos, a sea-worn coat on a hook by the door. It didn't look like a storage space. It looked lived in. Preserved. The weirdest part? There was a black and white photograph on the dresser, an old lighthouse keeper standing in that exact same room. Same coat, same lamp. Next to him, a young girl holding a camera. She looked like me. I took a picture and decided I was done for the night. Locked the door again, didn't sleep. The next morning, I drove into town and visited the Little Maritime Museum. It was mostly local artifacts and ship models. And then I saw it. A framed photo on the back wall. Same room. Same lighthouse keeper. Same little girl. Caption read, "Keeper Samuel Delaney with granddaughter Eloise. Taken inside the keeper's quarters, 1931. Room no longer exists. Removed during restoration in 1952. Removed." I showed the photo I took on my phone to the curator. He froze. "Where'd you get that?" I told him. His face went pale. "That room doesn't exist anymore." I nodded. "I know." He didn't ask for the address. He didn't want it. Just told me to delete the photo and not talk about it around town. I left Maryland that evening. The Airbnb host messaged me later that week. Thanks again for staying. By the way, you left a key behind. I found it on the pillow. This story was sent to me by someone named Louis, a delivery driver from Delaware. He says he won't take shortcuts anymore, not after what happened on Route 197. I work as a courier for a regional lab. Not the most exciting job, but it pays okay. Most days I drive around the mid-Atlantic picking up biological samples from clinics and dropping them off at testing facilities. Long hours, lots of rural back roads, you get used to it. One evening, I was running behind and decided to take a shortcut through Laurel, Maryland. My GPS rerouted me to a side road, Route 197. Not unfamiliar, but I'd never taken that exact segment before. It was narrow, wooded, the kind of place you only drive if you live nearby. About 10 minutes in, I saw cones. 2 faded orange traffic cones blocking part of the lane. Next to them, a wooden sandwich board with peeling letters. Inspection point. Have eyed ready, I figured maybe it was something the county was doing. Bridge check, wildlife survey, whatever. A guy in a faded military-looking jacket was standing by the sign, waving me down. I slowed, rolled down my window. He didn't introduce himself. Didn't ask where I was going. Just stared at me, then said, "License and registration." His voice was flat. No inflection. I handed him my license and work ID. He held them for a few seconds. Didn't scan anything, didn't write anything down at first. Then he took a small notepad from his coat and scribbled something. I couldn't see what. He gave me my cards back and said, "Keep going. Stay on this road." Then he walked behind my car. Not around, behind, out of my view. I checked my rearview mirror. He was gone. I looked around. Trees, no turnoffs, no sound, no birds, just gone. Weird, but I kept driving. I didn't want to be late. When I got to the drop-off, I told the dispatcher what happened. She looked confused. Route 197? That road's been closed for 6 years, since the chemical spill. I said that wasn't possible. I'd just driven through it. She shook her head. "There's a detour. It's on your app. You shouldn't have been able to even turn in." Later, I checked the route history on my phone. Route 197 wasn't logged. No record of me going through it. Just a weird 10-minute blank in the GPS. I figured maybe my app glitched, but when I got home, I checked my dash cam. The footage was normal, until that moment. You can clearly see me driving, slowing for the cones, stopping. You hear me say, "Evening, sir?" And then nothing. The camera glitches out, screen static, but the audio keeps rolling. You hear my window roll down. You hear him say, "License and registration." You hear me hand it over, and then you hear something else. He says my full name, twice. Not like he's reading it off the card, like he's calling me. And there's something in the background behind his voice. A faint metallic rattling, like chains or fences shaking. Then silence. The feed comes back 5 minutes later. I'm driving again like nothing happened. I watched the footage at least 10 times. Then I pulled the memory card, put it in an envelope, and mailed it to myself. But here's the thing. A few days later, I get a new delivery route assignment. Different city, same job. They hand me the manifest and I nearly drop it. First stop, Route 197. I ask the dispatcher. She says it's a typo, don't worry about it. The next day, I check my mailbox. There's the envelope I sent myself with the dashcam card. But inside, instead of the card, is a single piece of paper. It just says, "Stay on this road." This story was sent to me by someone named Kellen, a grad student who interned at a historical archive in Annapolis. He says he doesn't even trust mail anymore, not after this. It started as a quiet summer internship. Paperwork, scanning documents, cataloging old state records for the Historical Society near downtown Annapolis. I was in grad school for library sciences, and I thought this would be the most boring part of my academic path. Then I got assigned to vault inventory. The archive has a sealed basement vault, climate-controlled, dim lighting, a giant steel door with a manual code lock. It stores overflow materials, which basically means anything nobody's bothered to digitize yet. My job was to start sorting. About 4 days in, I found a misfiled cardboard box tucked behind some old state tax ledgers. It had no label, just a piece of masking tape with Room B written in faded pen. Inside, dozens of envelopes. They were aged, tied with twine, and looked like personal correspondence. Some were still sealed. Some had been opened already. I checked the front. They were all addressed to someone with my last name. I pulled one at random. Mr. Kellen Bright, 117, Haven Street, Baltimore, Maryland. That's my grandfather's name, and that was his old address. The postmark said 1954. Weird, but maybe they'd just been donated from his estate years ago. I figured it was a coincidence, until I flipped one over and saw a red stamp, undeliverable, deceased. That's what got me. My grandfather didn't die until 2008. I opened the letter. It was short, handwritten. He remembers you. We're just waiting. That was it. No signature. Every letter in that box was similarly cryptic. Some just had dates, some were blank, a few had sketches, houses, staircases, a drawing of what looked like a man with no eyes. Still trying to convince myself it was just an elaborate prank, I logged the box and handed it off to the head archivist. She said she'd take it upstairs for historical review. 2 days later, she came back and said no such box had been turned in. I checked the vault. The box was gone. I figured maybe someone else was reviewing it already. That night, I got mail to my apartment, no return address. Inside was a folded sheet of paper with the same handwriting from the letter. It just said, "Back where it belongs. Room B." I brought it up to the staff the next day. Nobody had ever heard of Room B. There's no Room B in the vault blueprints, but when I went back to inventory, there it was, a new filing drawer. Label, Room B, transfers. Inside, the same envelopes I found earlier, plus a new one. Addressed to me, no postmark, just sealed. Inside, a photograph, black and white, a picture of me in the archive basement, wearing the clothes I had on that day.